Hey guys, um, been doing some refactoring and adding some features to the Auto Final IK setup tool. So I'm on version 1.1 now, and I will make the download for this down below. I've added some features to cover a new rig and some corrections for some one-off avatar problems that you might be having that could help. So let's dive into it. I'm using VR Interaction Framework, but that doesn't matter. This tool will work for, XR Interaction Toolkit. All of them have, your center camera. They have a left hand and they have a right hand controller. You're going to be setting these up the same. So don't let that stop you from using this tool. This is just my preferred framework. So first thing I'm going to do is open up my rig. I'm going to find my head, which is my center eye camera. Create an empty. I'm going to call it head target. And then I'm going to come down to my model's left, which would be your left controller. Create an empty, and I'm going to call this left hand target. And then down here, I'm just going to do the same thing for the right hand target. Okay, so if you've watched the previous video, you know this auto sets up Final IK. So let's grab an avatar. I want to start with let's start with Robot Kyle. No, I'm not. I'm going to come back to Kyle. Let's handle the hard one first. So another dev was kind enough to add me. I'm not going to mention his name because in case he doesn't want it in a video. But he was kind enough to add me a seat to his license long enough to give me an avatar for Synty SideKicks so that I could get this tool working with it because the rotations and stuff were not correct. And obviously I don't have Synty SideKicks, but he added me a license long enough to give me an avatar, and I'll be deleting it after this video. The one that he sent me did not have textures or materials. So anyway, let's drag it in there. This is his main avatar. There's actually two avatars from what I understand that it kicks out. I haven't used the tool, so I'm just going by what I'm told. So you have a base avatar, and then you have your one that actually has your mesh that you've created. Has the animator and all that stuff. And I'll go over one other thing with this once I'm done. So first, let's just zero them out for SideKicks, and you can see that I've made it a child of the player controller. Let's open the tool, set up Final IK. Again, it might look something like this when you open it. Just stretch it out like that. Okay. So we need our targets. So head target, left hand target, right hand target. We need the animation controller. This is the VRIK animation controller that comes with Final IK's VRIK. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this, but usually I'll make copies of this depending on the avatar so I can change the animations. But that being said, moving on, we just need the root of our avatar that we're controlling. So I'm on the root, and then if you look over here, the inspectors, we go through it, it'll set up Final IK. These transforms are set up automatically by Final IK. It's not done by this tool. When I add VRIK to this, it automatically goes through and finds this. So, sometimes you got a weird rig. Sometimes this isn't right, but I will say 95% of the time it's right. So this tool is not assigning these VRIKs, doing this when I add this component. Okay, so if I set up my leg animation, it sets up the animator, and then you come down to your animation. You see the locomotion is automatically set to animated. It does it for you. If I set up shrink head, it just shrinks the head. The easiest way to not to see your face when you're doing this is just to shrink the head. Where this might not be something you want is if you're looking in a mirror. There are ways around this. The other thing with this is that if you shrink the head, you don't have a head shadow. And there's actually a trick to that as well, but it depends on your avatar. I'm not going to go into that in this video. I just added a button where if you wanted to shrink it or not. I'll leave it shrunk. If you need Y offset correction, this is mainly for VR Interaction Framework. Don't recall this being a problem for XR Interaction Toolkit, but just because the center of our rig, our XR rig, is like halfway and not at the bottom, we need to have a Y offset correction. And this is my own personal version of this that's using a raycast. There's other versions of this running around, but this works with Grounder, and so does another one from CompuGenius over on the thread at the VRIF Discord. So you can use whatever you want, but I didn't want to share his code, so I wrote my own version. This one works. There's a ground, which is just set to multiple things. You can play with this. Default is usually the ground, or you could call it ground and change it to that. I didn't put that in, obviously in the tool, because this could be whatever you make it. Set up avatar scale. This is the bare bones straight up scaling from Final IK. This is right off of their publicly available manual. I've just set this to be the input key on the keyboard, which is S. This is where you would change this to whatever you want, or you can just take this code and put it into your UI or whatever to trigger this this code. But right now it's just the key code S for scale. Moving on, twist relaxers. I've changed this. This is what I wanted to go over with the Synty SideKicks. Before, I was just getting the upper arm transform, or the lower arm transform, and I was just getting the parent, and I was just leaving this blank and letting it go through because I really wasn't thinking about something. So if you look at your sidekick, it's one of the thankful things I am for this, but if you go to your root and you go to down to just let me feet, where the heck is it? Oh, it's spine. Okay, span this out, spine. If you come down to your arms, you'll see that there's an attachment point. And what was happening was the twist relaxer. So if I come to my twist relaxer on my twist relaxer, and if I were to comment out these two lines, I'll show you what happens. Basically, this is just making an index available in the list, so it creates an index value, and then it's just adding the transform to it. But I'm gonna comment these out for now so you can see the difference. Come on, okay. So if I come to here, see how I assigned it before. If I get rid of my remove component, and then if I add my twist relaxer again, you'll see there's nothing there. Okay, so we'll just move on from the way it was before. Go ahead and set up grounder, set up mask, and fix my animation. I'm not going to go over these three buttons yet. I'll go over those in a few minutes. But let's just hit play and set this to Synty Sidekick, because that's what this is. If you mess this up, like say I had this at default and I set up Final IK, you can just change it and then hit set up Final IK again, and it'll fix what it needed to fix. So if I hit play, see how my hands are like off, and the reason that is because on my twist relaxers it's assigned that as a child, the attachment point. This should be the hand. So what I've done is I've added lines in it to take care of that. So just uncomment those, save it. So let's get rid of our twist relaxer again, component, and then bring our tool back over, add my twist relaxer. You can see it assigned the hand, and now when I hit play, rotational problem from the twist relaxer. And I want to point out that I can't cover every single avatar. The only thing I'm going to add to this is, popular avatars, something that's like all the avatars are mostly the same. I can't account for one-offs, so there's going to be some works on your part for that. But what this tool will do for you is it'll add every single component for you. And you may even have to play with your weights and stuff on your twist relaxers. Again, I can't account for that. There's just way too many rigs out there, too many people making their own rigs. The only thing I can do is go with popular ones and try to set up as best I can to get you the basics, and then you can go in and you can tweak things. So now SideKicks is working, all the rotational values are fine, and we've taken care of that twist relaxer problem. So thanks to the dev for adding me to that seat long enough for me to use the avatar for that. Now, one other thing. You will notice that if I go to this avatar, there is no configuration. So for hand poser, for VR action framework, it's not going to let you delete the transforms like you need to from my previous videos. If you're watching them, you have to delete the hand transforms from the rig's configuration in order for the hand poser not to be overridden by the animator. This is how you can fix that. So going from my understanding, I don't have SideKicks. These are just what was kicked out to me and told that this is how it does it. So if you go to your base avatar that it kicks out, which is here, resources, meshes, avatar, you'll see that there's this avatar for the base, which doesn't have the close or anything, but there's this one. But this one, you can actually configure the avatar, and you can actually see where I've already removed the finger transforms. So what you can do is on your R4, which has your mesh with your full character, instead of using this, the avatar, you can actually use this one, and everything will be fine. Still compatible. It's kind of the same thing that goes with Ready Player Me, where in order to delete those transforms, you have to use an FBX avatar with the JLBs, which is still compatible, but it allows you to remove those transforms. So I hope that helps people using Synty SideKicks. Moving on. Okay, so now let's get rid of this guy. Check my head transform, go to zero him back out. And my hands, zero him back out so that it's zeroed as if we were just setting up a new avatar. Okay. So another one, I've added some help for avatars that have some kind of weird rotation things going on. So let's find Kyle. He's here, so let's I think that's him. Yeah, yep, that's what I want. So we'll grab Kyle, zero mount, still have all my assignments, but the target avatar is the only thing I need to add. But if it wasn't there and you closed it, you just add the head, left hand, right hand, and then your animation locomotion again. So let's do the same thing. Okay, so now if you hit play, you'll see that Kyle's kind of weird, right? Right now his animations are backwards, and so what we can do in play mode, I've added these buttons for Y and Z rotation correction. So if we hit it once, we can look at it and say, okay, he's fixed. But I've made it to where it cycles, so you can see where it said rotation set to -90. You can set it to 90, which makes them backwards. And then it'll set it back to 0. Well, I'll correct that beforehand. Should be set him to 0. I think I changed something to go. But anyway, I'll fix that before I drop it in the download. So that's his correction. One thing I can't... Oh, I know what it is. Step back. All right, I want to do this from 0. Sorry about that, guys. I know it's going to make the video longer, but this is what Kyle would look like if you were setting him up from scratch. Again, I don't edit these videos, and I apologize. Okay, so everything is zeroed out. So if you hit play and everything's zeroed out the way it would be normally, I'm trying to figure out why it was not being so messed up. Normally he would look like this, right? Everything's all jacked. So we do that. He's good, but he's backwards. If you hit it again, then he's fixed. The only thing you need to fix is the Z rotation. Click it once, that'll fix his head. And then if you get kind of messed up and you're kind of weird about it, you can just reset it back to 0. So that gets his motion correct, and then Z again, and there you go. It's just a quick tool. You can do this manually. And again, I can't account for everything. So in this, you're still going to have to come in and you're going to have to fix the rotation on his hand targets. So see how this is kind of jacked? Like I can't obviously account for everything, but you're going to have to do some stuff manually if you're using a rig that's kind of not working straight out of the box, but it should get you close, you know? There you go. Another one. Go ahead and do another one just for the sake of it. Is the adventure character. This guy. So let's pull him in. Zero these back out and make sure they're good. Okay, so whatever you did in play mode, see how this stayed in 0? I did in play mode so that I could see what was going on, but obviously you would just have to remember what you did. So let's drag him in there, and then you would push the same button again, just so you know. So added that guy. Got my tool over here, I've assigned him, so we'll just set up Final AK, we'll do all the stuff again, put it on him so you can see it happening. Shrink his head, offset to our scale, all the way down. So now, see I left it at default. If you've got a one-off rig like this, just leave it at default. So if I hit play, you see that he's all weird too. So you can do the same type of thing. You can see now his rotation's correct, his animations are working correct, and the direction you push him in is the direction he's going. The only thing I can account for is what these hand rotations are going to be, and again, you're just going to have to come in and do it yourself. Hate to be blunt about it, but you know. And obviously once you get it, you just copy it and then paste component values, and then over here you just do the same thing again. And then get that out of the way. And what we should have is his rotations will be corrected and his hand will be in the right position. Roughly. And then you just do the same thing for the other hand. Come down to here. You can copy the positions of the other one, but I'm just going to do this like this. Yeah. Line it up with the other hand. There you go. You just copy. Paste them. Hit play. There we go. So the idea here is not really to take all the work out of it, but it takes most of the work out of it. I hope this helps. New features. I will leave the download for this in the description. Take it easy.